Well, Ben and Karol, welcome. As we've talked about already, we have an anniversary coming up, 150th. And so we're trying to interview people who have long memories and have been here a while. And I guess you two qualify. So,
well, with the been here a while, I'm not sure about the memories.
Okay. But anyway, and starting out really with some of your earliest memories and why you joined and maybe who the minister was at the time that you joined and kind of just a good place to start. Sort of where did it all start for you?
Well, Doug Wasson was the minister when we joined. And you want to tell how we started?
Well, I was a Congregationalist when I was growing up.
Oh.
And when we moved to Colorado Springs, I just came to church one Sunday. Ben was at a pharmacy convention, and I walked into this church.
Wow.
And I sat down.
Yeah.
And I thought, I am home.
I'm home. Wow. Where had you attended before?
In Smith Center, Kansas,
So
which
that-
was where my hometown.
In your hometown? Okay.
We were married in that church. And
Oh, you were?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ben was a Presbyterian, and I was a
And
Congregational.
who was the minister then?
And
When
we
you joined?
Doug Wasson.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah, he was before Jerry.
Right. Yeah. So what brought you to, well, I guess you've kind of explained really
Yeah.
what brought you to FCUCC. I always get those initials. Because it was part of your history. And
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Ben? Were you Congregational too, or?
Off and on.
Oh, okay.
Back and forth between Congregational and Presbyterian.
Yeah. Okay.
And my church that I really kind of grew up in was a combination of those two plus the Disciples of Christ, the three in a federated church.
Right. Okay. Good. So I know both of you have been involved in a number of activities and committees and groups and teams and whatnot. What are some of the involvements that you remember most and that you enjoyed and where you felt you made contributions over the years?
Well, we were both on the diaconate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was senior deacon not because I was qualified, but because I missed the meeting when they had the election.
That's often the case.
Yeah, I've made
It teaches
sure
you
to get the meetings now.
Right. Teaches you to be regular in
You bet.
meeting attendance.
We've both been on Buildings and Grounds, which is, I'm not sure now what it's called, but
Okay.
yeah. I've been moderator, so on council, just, and
Financial advisor is what I've been on probably most, and still am.
Oh, you're still
recently.
involved in that group? Yeah,
Mhm.
good. Okay.
Well, that's a necessary part of operations.
Right, yeah. And you both you're a retired pharmacist
Mhm.
and you're a retired teacher,
Mhm.
is that right?
yeah.
Great. How about friends that you remember over the years? Who stands out for you in terms of individuals you related to, individuals that were important to your growth here? And
Dennis, for me, I think Ben and I talked about this. There are so many.
any? Yeah.
I mean, just so many names come to mind over the.
Yeah. Who were some of the first individuals that stood out for you as?
Well, Bill and Lenore Poulson, who were long time members. Elmer and Betty Nelson.
Okay.
Marti Booth.
Marty.
Nance and Sam McCullough. I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wilber Fulker is another one that
Wilber.
was really
Okay.
involved, especially in buildings and grounds.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah.
been a lot of them.
Right, right.
Over the
yeah,
years.
Yeah, those relationships.
And I can still see where they sat.
Yes, isn't that the truth, right?
I really can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how we get habituated to a certain place in the church and it becomes our pew.
That's right.
Yeah. And so we remember people that way.
It was
Yeah.
especially true of Elmer Nelson.
Is that right?
He sat in the same spot every Sunday. And if anyone sat there, I'm sure that they would have probably been asked to move.
Yeah.
Bob Lincoln was another one that was really involved in buildings and grounds early on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Bob and Marge, I think her
Yeah.
name was. Yeah.
Good. How about a favorite story about the church? What are, maybe you have several.
Oh.
Are there favorite memories that really stand out for you?
Well, I think it's always been the Christmas mystery.
Oh, okay, right.
I mean, you
Yeah.
know, for me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Something
I'm sure
that
that's going to get mentioned frequently.
Yeah.
as-
Mhm.
one of the outstanding.
always look forward to and always attended.
Right. Yeah. Probably haven't missed many.
No,
No.
unless we were out of town.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other experiences?
Well, of course, you know, the Madrigals, the
Mm-hmm.
Easter services, I mean, there are just so many things that happen, traditional things
Right.
over the years.
Yeah.
And we've added to them with the gathering of the waters. And,
Oh, that's
you know,
right.
I mean,
That's-
they're just, yeah. they're
Yeah,
just
you
so-
remember when that was added?
I do.
Mhm,
Yeah, I
mhm.
think
Okay.
it was during Ben Broadbent's time.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I didn't realize it had been that recent.
Yeah, I think so.
Huh, interesting.
Oh.
Any other memories? Ben, do you have?
Not specifically. I
Okay.
tried to think of things, but just so many things that we look forward to. Jazz and Folk Sunday are two things that I really
Oh,
look
right.
forward to.
Yeah.
Have enjoyed over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a gospel
missed
Sunday
that one.
for a little while.
Yeah,
and
we
then-
did.
Yeah, that didn't last too long,
No.
but that was kind of fun,
Mhm.
wasn't
It
it?
was, yeah.
Yeah. So, in my series of questions here, this is a good question, I think, and that is, what do you value the most about your membership here? What do you think? What stands out as kind of like the most valuable aspect for you?
I value the progressiveness of the church. I value the extremely loving atmosphere, I think, that we try to portray. We don't
Mhm.
always succeed,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's there.
Yeah.
I think those are just the community.
Mm-hmm.
Just being part of a viable group like this, it's meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah. Advice for the next 150 years.
I think give generously of both time and treasure
Okay.
for the long term.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think my advice is that this is a community I have seen, and a community that needs people to be involved and committed. And Ben and I have seen ministers come and go,
Right.
and most of them have been very, very good, and we've been very sad to part with. And there have been upheavals,
Mm-hmm.
many upheavals in the times that we have been in this
Mhm.
church. But I have maintained that it's the church and the community that we should be committed to.
Hmm.
I mean, it's great to have wonderful ministers,
Mm-hmm.
but when the tough, when it gets really tough, I think there needs to be a commitment.
Yeah, yeah, good.
So I
Good
would
point.
say just,
That it really is the faith community that's
yes,
important.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which reminds me that, I know the church has gone through some real trying times and changes. I mean, as we've sort of changed with the times and so forth. You remember some of those? Do you remember some of those conflicts also?
yes, I do.
Yeah. Which ones stand out for you in terms of?
Very early on, when we first joined, Vietnam was in full swing.
Oh, okay.
And the church was, and the minister was pacifist. I mean,
Okay.
supporting the military, but not necessarily supporting the war.
Okay.
And we had many military families in the church at that time, and that was a difficult time.
Yeah, it must have been really a
it was
tricky
hard,
issue to deal with.
in order to try to
Huh, interesting.
meld the two together in
Right.
some way that wasn't.
Yeah.
Of course, the other major thing was open and affirming.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
I remember losing members.
Okay.
But overall, I think concluded that if they felt they couldn't be here with what we were trying to profess to believe,
Uh-huh.
then they should find another place.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
But we did lose a lot of members.
Yeah. So that was really an upheaval at the
It
time
was.
with
And it was
the
also,
faith community.
it was a time of contention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we made it through.
We did.
We
We
did.
made it through all of them.
And we're looking for another 150 years.
That's right.
That's why I say stick with it,
Yeah.
stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do what you can. Be
Yeah.
a part of the solution, not the problem.
Not the problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Excellent. Yeah. Anything else that we missed, you think, that as you thought about this, that you wanted to say?
Not really.
We think we covered it.
This is my church home and has been since 1971, and will probably be, for sure will be for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wonderful.
We're here for the long run.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Well, thank you for your contributions to the community and your steadfastness over the years.
Well, as I said, it's home.
Yeah.
It's my spiritual home.
Okay.
I would ask a question. What was it about the church when you first came in and sat down that made it seem like home?
I don't really know. I can't.
It would have probably been Doug.
Well, I liked him. I mean, it was one Sunday. I don't know. I think I was just. I don't know. I just sat. I remember exactly where I sat, and I remember. I mean, I don't know. It was just almost an immediate response that this is.
This is home.
Yeah, this is maybe the music, the people,
Huh.
I don't know.
It might have been Doug, but he was the one that was most involved in our joining, and I don't know.
Who was this?
Doug Wasson.
Doug Wasson.
Oh, okay.
He actually came to our house,
Oh.
and our apartment. Actually, we didn't have a house. Ben was at Fort Carson at the time. Well, no,
okay.
he'd just gotten out of the Army.
Okay.
But he came to our apartment and visited with us and asked us if we wouldn't be interested in joining. And that
Really?
pleased me. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, this guy's actually interested in us. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And another couple we didn't mention was Perry and Esser. Emmons, and they were
Emmons?
Emmons,
Uh-huh.
and they were really involved in getting us involved.
Oh,
You know,
But unfortunately, they also were ones that left during
oh,
the
really?
open and affirming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So
And
anyway,
you had been here with the service? Is that why you
Mhm.
were here? Oh,
yeah, Fort
okay.
Carson in
Okay.
'68.
I see.
For a couple of years.
Yeah.
yeah,
many-
during Vietnam.
Uh-huh. Oh, so you had that personal connection too
Yeah.
with Vietnam.
Mhm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I was
So-
commissioned infantry to start with and got medical service corps and ended up at the hospital pharmacy at Fort Carson for a couple of years, which
Oh, that's where you got your pharmacy
mhm,
background and
where I got started here, got my license changed
Yeah.
to Colorado and all
yeah,
that.
I
so.
see. Interesting.
Well, thanks,
Thank
Dennis.
you.
That
Yes.
was easier than I thought it would be.
Well, you're talking about something that you know. You know.
Well, a little bit anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I told you Dennis would be easy to visit with, didn't I?
Don't. This won't be filmed. But one of my funny stories, but I didn't tell it, was Elmer, who was such a curmudgeon in the church, and Elmer Nelson, and he was always making bits of trouble here and there. I'm sure that Jerry Jordan remembers him. I know he did.
Yeah.
But we would sit back right in front of him, and at that point they would ask visitors to stand
Yeah.
during that time. If you're a visitor day, would you stand? And if we hadn't been at church for 2 or 3 weeks, Elmer would start poking us. Stand! You stand!
Oh, that's a great story. Yeah.
Elmer!